Hey, welcome back to the podcast. Super excited to have Byron, Lazine, Nicole White in-house. I almost called you the other name just for fun.
I was waiting.
Yes. So we're here at the Mohegan
Sun.
Mohegan Sun. Where are we? In Connecticut, yes.
Yeah. Uncasville.
Uncasville,
but
technically.
nobody knows that. Mohegan Sun.
Connecticut.
Uncasville, like all these cities that I go to that I'm like, clearly these were like Indian nation cities because
Well,
I cannot say it correctly.
This
yes.
is, I mean, this is,
At least
you're on a reservation.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
We are.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
really are.
That's why
Yeah,
there
we
is
are.
a casino here, because it is Indian territory.
This is what happens when you put three podcasters together.
No longer in America.
And immediately, is there a point to the show? No, we're just going to hang out. Okay, so actually, I've known these guys for a long time, and you probably see them at events. There's actually a very famous poster when you come to all of our events, and it's you and Byron. Like, have you seen
I
that?
have. It's so funny though, because I think you're like, he's like an animal. Like he's
Right.
really big, and like I'm really like, I don't know what the angle of that
AJ's
camera
angle.
was.
AJ who just
Right.
But
walked
he
out.
looked like he was
Moxie
this like
works.
towering thing,
Yes.
and I, like it's yes,
Yeah, but you're the one that stood out, just for the record.
obviously.
Yeah.
Even though I think I called you Katie.
That's why they use it in marketing.
Yeah.
'Cause of Nicole.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Okay, so so you guys run a really successful business. Is one of the topics that we talk about a lot. We were actually just chatting about this off camera. Was when you're really successful, the only thing you want is time.
Yeah.
And when you're not really successful, the only thing you want is to be successful, which means I need more clients. So you two have created this sort of journey together, working together, building these monster companies. I want to talk about that, but let's start with the journey. So Nicole, when did you two first meet and sort of form this business partnership?
So it was probably 2000 and maybe like 16 or 17.
Mm-hmm.
I
It was
mean,
before that.
Well, no.
17 is when we started. So yeah, 15
it had to
or
have been
16.
16 because that's really when I started how social media
Yeah,
built was
okay.
in 16. So again, just two agents along the shoreline here in Connecticut.
Yep.
I was hosting actually. So back then in
Yeah.
16 in Connecticut, the market was like sluggish, like
Right.
it has been
Right.
until probably now.
Yeah.
And there happened to be like a bunch of houses along this road in Westbrook, and there were I would say
Waterfront.
yeah, and again
yeah.
like there were like probably 16 homes along this like stretch of road, and they weren't selling.
Superstorm Sandy kind of
Yeah.
hurt
Yeah,
it.
and
Yeah,
they
of
were
course.
seasonal, and
Yep.
again the market was sluggish. So I decided to host this like brokers open. So I reached out to every single agent, asked them to like throw in $50 so we could give like gift cards to other agents if they came to visit.
Nice.
He sent his assistant to come and deliver the money and pick up his balloons. Like now I look back at him like
Yes.
I'm handing out flipping balloons.
Yes.
But I give
Yes.
balloons, whatever. So then he emails probably like 4 days later and is like, "Thank you so much. What a great event." And like I was actually shocked because I didn't even think he actually went.
Yes.
Like I didn't actually know like his physical being was there. But from there,
Wait, hold on. But it wasn't.
he was there.
I went.
Or you were there.
He was there. He
Okay,
just
but I did
didn't-
handoff.
Everything
He
was
just
set
went-
up. I showed up.
Yes,
rocked
so
it
he
for a
had
couple
someone set
hours.
up his house for him.
Because he's got like handlers, right? That like show up and move him
Well,
around places.
I feel like
now.
I'm his handler at this point.
Tom, I was Tom's handler just 5 minutes ago with Josh, president
So
of the
from
company.
there, I mean,
Yes.
we really just like we stayed in touch for it must have been at least like a year or two. Like I went on his podcast because he was with another team. I was with another team, and then one day we just like it was. I don't even know how it happened, but it turned into like this whole day, pretty much like booze fest. Like we started at lunch, then we went bar hopping, and like we were so
Masterminding.
Yeah.
yeah.
yes.
I mean, but it was.
I come from the Jill
But there
Biggs
was- yes.
style of masterminding.
Style of mastermind.
Yeah.
Like, how did your business partnership
But we like
start?
didn't want the
Bourbon.
data. Yeah. I'm a vodka drinker.
Okay,
so
that's fair, that's fair.
But again, we didn't like want the day to end.
Yes.
And like by the very end, I remember turning to him and being like, if you just like lived closer,
Mm-hmm.
I would totally join your team.
Yeah.
And he turned and he's like, all right, well, let's do it. And I was like, what?
Nicole's a great planner with the
Yes,
event and everything,
for
like
sure.
getting people together. And when she
We're
gets
going
a
to
whole,
unpack all that, by the way.
when she gets a lot of people together, people are really excited to want to be around her.
I can
So
see that.
I kind of kept like, hinting before this mastermind
Mm-hmm.
day, I kept hinting like, hey, we should like be working together. We should be working together. There was always just like, Nicole was very much, I need an office in my town, couldn't put together,
Yeah.
we were living 45 minutes, couldn't even like process that. It was like
No, yeah.
town, brokerage, sign, got to have it all working.
Local yokel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very much. Yeah. But again, I mean, that was what, like 6 years ago, 7. So like, again, my youngest was like 3.
Get it? Yeah.
So it was also just like Yeah, I mean, just that was comfort for me. Yeah.
So were you recruiting?
No.
No.
I was.
No, I mean like recruiting.
No.
I was recruiting her.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
That's what I mean. Like,
Correct.
she says no.
No, I didn't feel recruited. I just was having a good
all
time.
good
I was definitely
just-
recruiting.
I mean, I wasn't
having a good
opening
time.
myself to being recruited, but we just had like a good time. It was,
Yeah.
Again, I mean, and I'm sure it's this way in most states. Like, there's sort of what has always been, and he was doing what I was sort of doing in a different area of the state, and it was like fun. It was like fun to like chat about it and hear about it. And I mean, I'm a really jealous person too. So like I needed to sort of like figure out his mind too, because like he was like doing it a little bit better. So like I was a little jealous.
No, she was crushing. She was having 600 people show up to a party.
Right.
But it was when I first met her in person, I was like, she makes real impact. So there's leadership ability here.
Right.
There's an ability to like get other people on our, on our team and attract the right type of people.
Okay, so break down for us. 17 is the first year.
17, August of 17, we started the team. Yeah.
So what does the team look like from say 2017, 18,
What
19,
month?
20, 21?
What month?
Just
Yeah, I mean, 17.
Encapsulate
I
for
mean,
us.
we
17 was, we were late, so you can cross out 17. It was a couple months over.
But again,
I was getting sued. There was like things going on. 17.
But it was fun. Like he sold his
Did he
house.
just say he
and
was
like-
getting sued on the
Well,
show? Like I
I
wasn't going to
mean-
bring that up later. Like okay, sued.
So my last team partner sued me because he was crying about the breakup, and there was nothing to sue over because I said, keep all the money.
Yeah.
Keep all the money.
Yeah.
Like I'm going over and working with
Yeah.
the Ravises and Nicole, and we're building something new.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Clean slate on your end, but remember, it's always easier to be
Sure. No, I get it.
to leave than it is to be left.
of course,
Yeah.
of course.
So yeah, okay.
So again,
screw
17,
the
I feel
lawsuit.
like each month was a little different. Like we really honestly started out the team as Byron would call it. Like he really, like, again, it was mostly his vision. I was like, sure, let's go. Like we wanted like a ninja team. We wanted like a small group of agents.
We were talking ninja stuff back then.
yeah.
Different than today.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
like people we that believed in us, trusted us, and that we trusted in them.
Trust
So-
was a big thing in 2018 when we started the team. We only wanted people who were going to be really loyal, really committed.
Yeah.
and that understood it,
SEAL team.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
we had
That's
both
it,
been on
ninja
teams
team.
before, and and at least for me, I mean, he was a team leader, I was not on my team, and like you always sort of you doubted. There was like questions and like, where's my money going, and like what are they really doing to support me, and again, and that was also part of the reason why we didn't want like the team to be our name either. We wanted it so much to be about like our group and our people, and like that each one of them was important to us just as much as like we were to them.
Yes.
So that was my number one rule. Like was like we're not doing a name.
Well, Bill Ravis is like,
Yeah, he said no way.
just call it Byron Lazine team. What's
We
wrong
went-
with your
we
name?
went into
I
that
said, Nicole,
meeting.
kill me first of
We
all.
went in-
and
Yeah.
we're doing something
We went
else.
into our first meeting with the marketing like division, and they had all this stuff ready for us, and it was all the Byron Lazine team. I remember looking
Nicole's like,
being
excuse me?
I did. I was like, I haven't eaten yet, so this is not a good
Hangry.
idea.
Hangry.
Yeah.
Okay, so you decide on a name, you decide on a culture that you want.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? You decide some values that you want. We want, integrity, and we want trust, and we want to be in this together
Yeah.
and hard work and let's go committed.
Yes.
How'd that work out?
We started a new agent program.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
2018, 2009. Yeah, 2018.
I mean, again, this little ninja
Okay, but I
team
asked,
changed.
how did that work out? And you said we started a new agent program.
No,
But
That was like our first big move.
No, it
Yeah.
changed. It changed.
The new agent program has evolved.
No, but
Yeah,
the
yeah.
ninja thing changed.
No,
I
what
mean,
happened?
we
So
went, we
you-
went from
you
4
got-
people to all of a sudden it was like, Nicole, we need 20, and then we need 20, and then it was like an office, and then decorate this office, and then, all right, we need to like it didn't stay that way very long.
Right.
Again, the turnover at the very beginning, obviously. We probably brought in 3 and would lose 2.
Yes.
And then we started to really, I feel like, hone in, and that's when the new agent program came in, because then we started to hone in on needing to actually like help people understand, how important the culture was and how important the actual business is. It's not
Yes.
just like, hey, you walk in and if your phone rings, So that was when Byron then wanted to start the new agent program, was because we were wanting these people, but like they don't walk in being a Byron and a Nicole like
No.
day one.
No.
I mean, we had been obviously cultivating our businesses for 6-7 years at that point. So.
Businesses, skills, communication, negotiation, people management.
And then also like obviously like, we Byron's phone could ring right now and someone wants to list their home. home. So we also had, the residual sort of business coming in, and now we were having to get these agents to sort of,
be successful,
feel that comfort that we did, in a very uncomfortable time, really. I mean, again, the Connecticut real estate market hasn't been stellar. So yeah, I mean, we again, and I have to give it all to Byron, because I just he'd call me and I'd be like, yep. I'm like, it's a joke though. I mean, we still if we get into a fight in the morning, one of us will just text yes. We always reconfirm yes, this is what we want. This is
That's
what we
our apology.
do.
Yes.
Why?
Yes.
Why were you so mean to me?
We own the domain. We own the domain. It's now an ongoing joke. We have yes in our office.
I'm a yes. I get it.
We are yes.
Okay, so let me write down. 2018. How many transactions?
Ooh, you're better than I am.
I've erased these low numbers from my mind completely.
I feel like it was around 200.
Bobby, I love it.
It
Making
was-
them uncomfortable.
maybe?
This is good.
No, it wasn't 200 transactions.
100?
It was over 100, maybe
maybe?
115.
Okay, so let's just say 100-ish.
Let's go 100-ish. We were pathetic in
What'd you do?
2018.
Yeah, I know.
That first year.
I was going to bring that up.
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you do in
that first year,
2019?
I remember that first year we wanted to do 50 million. I was like, are you insane?
We did
50
40 million or something
I was
like that.
50 million. I'm like, are you
So that would
crazy?
be about right, 100
Yeah.
transactions.
400,000 average sales price ish. What'd you guys do in 2019?
I almost have-
This is like yesterday. That's how new this is. 2019.
It does
Well, but
seem a
again,
long
we
time
had the
ago.
pandemic. The pandemic just we lost. I feel like we
What pandemic? It's over.
We
Like,
lost
it's,
years.
I feel like it just went by that quick.
I would say
I'm lying.
See, he took
2019.
notes
I almost
before.
have to
We
work
should've taken-
backwards.
We should have taken notes.
Okay, well, what'd you do in 2021?
we did just over 500 deals.
500
for
transactions.
186 million.
Congratulations. What'd you do in 2020?
What was that? Must have been 250. We've been doubling
We've been
up.
doubling, yeah.
Okay, so 250.
Yeah, and then 2019 was between 100 and 250, so call it 170 or something. Yeah.
Okay, so
Carolina? Where's Carolina?
Carolina.
I was just thinking, where's Carolina?
Our ops manager was my executive assistant before Nicole and I started
Right.
working together.
Where's Carolina?
She's now our ops manager.
She knows my passwords. She knows.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I need Carolina.
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
She
Okay,
runs the
this
show.
is how hard it is to do a podcast with podcasters.
Yeah.
You guys know what I'm talking about. Okay, so let's break this apart. So you guys put together this SEAL team. You've got this intention. You got the value set. This is how we're going to do it. You start doing it, and it doesn't work.
What hasn't worked?
You hire three.
Everything?
You hire three, two leave, and then you have this moment. We screw the team. No, let's hire 20 more. Yes, but something was missing. A way to create repeatable success.
Well-
a way to build agent success.
So that was really, I think, so we had these ideas of what we wanted the team to be, but we never actually specified them.
Yeah.
They weren't written down. We didn't now people know our standards. They know our three. Well, we've changed our actual words multiple times, but we never It wasn't until we had that Guilford office where we then engaged the entire team. We gave them a whole list of words on a sheet of paper, and we asked them all to circle five.
We did the Brene Brown Dare to Lead. This was in the. This is probably before pandemic years. So I'd say 2019, 2018, whatever. 2019.
Yeah, probably 19. Yeah.
All these words, what does this mean? We kind of came up with, at that time, hardest working team, accountability. It was a collection because we were a
Right.
small team, maybe
Yeah.
12 agents or whatever.
Yeah, and circle your five. What words are popping out to you? Family, obviously, was circled.
and why are they popping out?
Yeah, so it was that. But again, remember,
So was this a value reset? Who are we when we're at our best versus who we are? This is a very classic exercise.
Yeah.
What are the words that describe us when we're at our best? What are the words that describe us when we're not at our best? Avoid these.
That was
two
a
more
value
of these.
clarification, reset, whatever
Right.
you want to call it.
But
because
it gave everybody
Yeah.
a direction. Because again,
Yes.
we were all very like-minded people, and we were so excited, and we had now these two offices, and again, but Byron and I were still very much selling too. So
Right.
we're and we don't have a manager in the office, so there was no real true presence in our
At
so
the
it
time,
was-
though, we credit to Jason Ferris. Shout out Jason. He
Yeah.
was our coach at the time. He was
Yeah.
our first Team Plus coach
Yeah.
with Tom Ferry coaching. And Jason really helped us kind of organize that and put that hardest working
Wow.
team.
That's what I wanted to
So
get to.
Yeah.
that was the biggest thing
Yeah.
because we also, I think Jason actually helped Byron and I because
Yeah.
he was going and I was feeling sort of left behind and where do I belong in this? So again, Jason was huge in that because he and I remember sitting on the curb outside the office and he's like, what do you like, what's going, like, are you a part of this team? And I'm like, I don't really feel like I am, but like, I'm like here, like I'm here, you know?
We hadn't had roles really defined.
That's what I'm writing down is like, it's new agent training, which we're going to talk about, but it's really like, how did you go from sort of like, this is a really great idea to like having a management methodology, a structure, standard operating procedures.
Well, to be honest, I feel like that just happened like what, maybe 8 months ago, like that we really honed in on.
Well, we've gotten better
so
for sure
much
last year,
better.
but what Nicole, when she's saying in 2019, feeling left behind, like Lucy, who's been with me, first agent I ever hired, even before this team. Lucy like had a defined role at that time. We had our new agent program, and it's evolved a lot more today. But we had our new agent program up and running, and Nicole was kind of like, okay, well, like Lucy's managing brand new agents, Byron's visionary, leading the team, you know, and we didn't even use the word visionary until we started like, you know, doing other stuff. But yeah, it was like that weird part where it's like, okay, but like I'd come in on Tuesdays and do like the podcast,
and like we'd have listings together, and like Nicole, like we're like, can you pick a wall color? You know, like it was, you know, like.
So, but all the while, sales leader, house flipper, doing personal sales, your design business, your charity business, mom of the entire company, plus mom of 3. It wasn't like you were lacking purpose.
Oh no, I was definitely not lacking. I was lacking purpose within the team. Yeah.
So how did you solve for that? Because I think every person listening right now, if there's someone listening who's on a team who feels disconnected, they need to hear this. Yeah, and every team leader needs to realize that, you know, like the great Microsoft study that was done, that was like a third of their workforce was actually understanding the vision and aligned, which means that 2/3 of like 400,000 people in the world were just kind of doing their thing. Right. But and they didn't really get the vision and the message and the clarity as to why. Yeah. So what did you do to get in the fold?
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it all boils down to one thing: is just communication. I'm a horrible communicator, and Byron is like an over communicator, and that's also like
everyone listening to the podcast would totally disagree now.
No, well, I think when it comes to business, when it comes to biz stuff, 100%. Like, because we'll have arguments, and like I shut down, and then like he'll reengage. So it really boiled down to communication.
But what was the communication? Was it by you? Did you sense like I'm losing her? I got to pull her back in?
No, he wasn't losing me. Again, I feel like I go back to Jason in this situation. You know, I think that he then, you know, voiced sort of how I was feeling, and maybe it wasn't necessarily about the team. I think it was certain people on the team that weren't working for me. Yeah. And then that was, I feel like, how we then were, in my mind, that's how I remember it. Like
we're not working for you, or not working like for you energetically. Which one?
No, like they weren't working like they just weren't working like they weren't a good fit.
Yeah, like a fit. Energetic.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
So like I wasn't like we had this incredible team, but I wasn't utilizing any of the resources. Like I was telling my team to utilize the resources. I was telling my team to utilize, you know, individuals on the team, but like I wasn't.
Yeah. So like you weren't in alignment.
I was not.
Isn't that weird when you find yourself in that management role? You're like, I'm telling everybody to do this, but I'm doing that.
Yes.
So how did you come to grips with that, and what did you do about it?
We moved people around. I mean, we then had real conversations.
So did you have a trust issue? That's why you weren't using them, or is it a control freak Alina?
Freak Alina.
Yes, that's how it started.
Yes. Did you have to text that?
Yes. And I think though that if I trusted them like I trusted myself, I would have been able.
I can do it at a 9900, and this person can do it at an 87. I'm not willing to give up the 13.
Yeah. Well, but there was, but again, there was so many things that because at this point, like 3/4 of this team was people that Byron had been working with before we joined.
Yes.
So I was like, even though Byron and I, like started this, like I was still like. I was joining them.
Yeah, you were still an outsider. Yeah, right. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Even though it was a new brand, new team, she was a founder. It was.
Do you remember the conversation we had the other day about from Mark? You work on buying a company for 100 days.
Yeah.
And then you guys are totally cemented. We were just in this conversation about acquisitions. It's like you're working together rigorously for 100 days, and the drinks and fun and grinding through, all this stuff. But then you announce, and for them it's day one.
Yeah.
Right. So you had a little the day one, like they had been doing this for a while. And even though you guys had this thing, like it was day one,
Yeah.
and it was day, 500.
And by the
Right.
way, that happened going back to like 2017, 2018. That happened to me early on. My number one buyer agent, we've been talking about this for whatever, 3 months before it happened, right? Day 101,
yeah.
it's like, oh, we're doing this great thing. Okay, yeah, I trust you. I'm coming with you. But then 6 months into it was like, yeah, I'm out on this deal. And that was like, oh, this growth, there's going to be some pain in it because it was somebody that holidays, I still love her.
No, I know that, yeah.
But I'm like, okay, for us to get to the next place, we're going to have to give up some things that we've been accustomed to that we're really comfortable with.
Right.
Okay, so I'm gonna switch the focus for a second. So Byron, you got multiple business owners, right? Multiple companies that you're running essentially, right? You took full advantage of the 2020, 2021 and transitioned your life down to Florida.
Full advantage of a lot of things.
A lot of things, right? Yeah. And the business, as we just talked about the numbers, I mean, you go back to 170-ish, whatever it was, 250, then 500. And what will you do this year? What's the plan?
We'll do 1,000 transactions and we're on pace.
Right.
Yeah.
So going from 500 transactions to 1,000 transactions.
We are tied right now with Lisa Chinati, and I'm looking at you.
Oh, and she's like her own little brokerage over
looking
there.
at you,
I love
Lisa.
it.
That was a mic drop.
Give her 3 minutes, and that
Yes.
number will change.
She's going to buy 37 houses tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I say this because, and look, again, I say sales leader, house flipper, doing your own sales, design business, the charity things that you do. You guys are incredibly busy. I said it in the very beginning. Everyone that's successful wants more time, and everybody that isn't successful wants success, but it means clients and all these other things. So what are you doing now? How are you operating all these businesses? And I'm going to come to you and say, how are you operating all these projects, right, including people? So unpack that for us.
We've gotten in real alignment in terms of how we're operating in the last, and I think that's probably what you said 8 months earlier, because in those last 8 months, we are now, our weekly meetings look completely different.
We actually have them.
Yeah.
Yes. Step one.
So,
Step one.
so we were doing a lot of, Nicole would tell me an issue.
Yep.
I might tell our ops manager, Carolina, it, or I
Yeah.
might not. But Nicole's assuming Carolina knows because her and I talk all the time, and that problem's getting solved. But maybe I didn't communicate it to her, and it never happened.
Or I have a problem at a 10, and like he's in another meeting somewhere else, but I don't know. And then I'm like, why are you not answering me? And then he gets mad at me because like you're bothering me. But like I'm like, this is kind of important. Like,
Lucy doesn't even know what's going on. She's in her whole world new agent program, and maybe she needs to know. But so this 90-minute communication.
I mean,
so you created a singular meeting place or a multi-meeting place where everything gets discussed. Save that for Monday. Save that for Friday.
Yeah,
kind of thing?
save that for Monday, right? So
we call it IDSing. Like, IDS that. We have a group chat. It's called Road to a Billion, and it's
Road to a Billion.
IDS it.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's changed. Originally, it was Road to 50 agents.
Yep.
And then it changed to Road to 100 agents.
Yep.
Again, we're talking within like 6 weeks. It keeps like every 4 days it changes. Yeah.
Well,
and I don't know I don't know what the goal is until like the thread name changes, and then it goes to like.
But everybody finds out at once. It's on that thread.
Now we need 100 agents clearly.
But one thing's for certain, it's not. We're slowing down.
We're not slowing down.
Right. Everything sounds like it accelerated, but was there always like you guys hit number one in the state, so you got that one check, right? Are you one of the best places to work yet in the state?
No, we got to do that. We got to put in for that.
Do you do that?
We've done like the local newspaper.
Are we allowed to do that? Is it like a? I mean, there's so many.
There is a best of the state. We've done a couple of different
now.
Shoreline newspaper of the day. We're the best of.
Oh yeah,
on
we
those.
did. We were the best brokerage. We're like, oops.
We were the best brokerage. And people got pissed because we're not a brokerage.
I'm sure. Yes. Starting with Bill Ravis. Hey.
No, he didn't care actually, but people on that side of the state cared.
So Josh is the president of our company. We're talking about it yesterday. We're totally committed to this as he joined, and now we're like, but it also could be this. Now, both those two things are ultimately leading us in a singular direction. It's just that we're going to take in path A or path B. So him saying 50 agents, now it's 100, now it's 1 billion. It was probably always like, we just want to keep stretching to keep growing.
Yeah.
But go back to the thing. So every Monday, you guys have a meeting. Tell us what's in the meeting. Give us the meeting agenda. Give us help us understand.
You want to
Well, no, you can go ahead. I mean, we follow EOS.
Yeah.
So we started doing that. So we have like I guess would we call her like a coach, an EOS coach?
She's an implementer, and we've worked with our Tom Ferry coach on like, what makes sense, what doesn't, how long do you keep your own implementer?
So we did like a full like 9 to 5, like doors were locked, and we started like ripping everything apart within the business. What was working, what wasn't, what are roles, what are people responsible for, and just like everything was finally getting written down.
Exactly.
Yeah. And again, and it's because even at that point too, like my number one thing was like, where do I stand? Like I want to walk out of this knowing where I stand and where everyone else stands. So
it exposed some other leaders.
Of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course.
So go
okay,
ahead.
but on. But what's the Monday meeting?
So from there,
give them the Monday meeting, or I'm gonna have to.
Exactly.
So Monday we meet every day. It starts at 12:05 and it runs until 1:35. So it's an hour and a half. But again, it's
But what is it, Nicole?
We spend 5 minutes on a segue. So we talk about each of us have to give a positive from our business and then our personal.
Good.
And then we go through again sort of it's called like a scorecard.
Scorecard.
Oh, we do the headlines. Yeah, I'm sorry. We do headlines like what's happened. Like if someone has
graduated
graduated
new agent program,
or someone left. Or like these are onboarders, like the headlines.
Yep.
And
kind of the primary dashboard. Here's the numbers that matters the most.
Well, that's our scorecard. So we go
Okay.
through that, like, are all of our agents on board to hit the standard, like in terms of under contracts?
Yep.
Green or red for the month.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Because we do have a standard there. And then we look at retention. Is have we been in touch with all of our agents? Are they happy? Are they not? Are they, being responsive? All that. And then we
do our to-do list.
Yeah, and then it goes into the to-do.
Then we have
From the
60 minutes of all that crap that
IDSing.
somebody brought up on a Thursday. It's like, put it into the L10 meeting, right?
Yeah.
And then we do to-dos again, then cascading messages. Who's going to deliver the message to who?
And
Which
then
a lot of times
grade
is Carolina.
ourselves. At the very end, we grade ourselves. How do we feel? How do we feel about the meeting?
I always give us a 0. They always are like a 7 or 8.
No, he's never hit a 0. I mean, it's usually like a 2.
2.
Yeah.
I'm like a freaking 2.
Yeah.
So one of the things we observe a lot is the more ambitious you are, the more dissatisfied you are. We talked about it on the plane last night. It's like that's like that is, or at dinner, right? Like it's a symptom, right?
Yes.
Like, oh, you're never satisfied. You're gonna be really successful, right? It's just the way it is.
But from here, our ops manager now has used this format with the admin team, with the recruiter, with our what we call SCR, the ISA team.
Yep.
And so it's all broken down where she's running these mini meetings, funneling back into the leadership meeting, which is Nicole, Carolina, and Lucy.
Yep.
We even have an agent advisory board, and we use the same
format with them.
process with them too.
So everybody's on the same meeting standard.
Right.
And I'm on the
what
one.
you're trying to kill is the lack of comms, the forgetfulness, or back channeling, and all the things that happen when I thought he said, and did we agree on this? Well, I don't think that's right. Like, get it all in one spot, hammer it out.
Yeah.
What did Greg Shorts Tomo say the other day? He said it's velocity.
Yes.
Right. We're able to move a lot faster over the last 6 to 12 months for sure
so much faster
than we ever have, and so it's no surprise that the numbers are following.
So let's unpack two things. Actually, I want to come to you first. How do you keep it all together?
Her head's a scary place to be.
Well, no, that's obvious, right? And I say that with love, but
like,
you probably have more talent in your thumb than most people will have in a lifetime. You know what I mean? She just oozes
100%.
all this talent and possibility. How do you keep yourself together? Like 3 kids, how many? 100 salespeople.
Woo, I appreciate that.
You know what I mean? Like keeping it all going.
I actually, took my hoodie off today. No, I don't know. I mean, but I don't know any different. Like the moment that I have nothing to do is like when I like. So again, we were talking about time. If you gave me more time, I would just fill the time.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it would be something new or something different or.
Yeah.
I don't know. Byron always makes fun. I did start using a calendar. Before I met Byron, it was like I never used a calendar. It was She's
got a little Jill Biggs in her. Do you see that?
I knew
my wife, same thing.
I knew it was I knew what I had to do on Tuesday. Like my head is broken up into days and then weeks and then months and like they all fit in. And
she doesn't miss appointments, but I'm like, where are you keeping these?
I don't miss anything. I don't miss anything.
Is it all up here?
Everything is up there.
That is so impressive.
And my husband will do it all the time because like we'll be watching something or somebody will say something and then I'll like from there like my head goes and then I'll go and he's like, can you just? I need to know how you got there. Like, how did you get from like wrapping paper to like an addition like on our house. And like, it's just, and then it's, that's how it's always been.
So you're super visual, obviously, right? Because even you're drawing it out.
I am visual. I'm like you
right.
too, though. Like I can't make anything on. Like I'm still a pen and paper girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I would do much better if I had like
AD,
a calendar
ADD
in
or
front of me.
ADHD?
Which one, Nicole?
I'm neither. Am I?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay. Because so I have lots and lots of, I mean, myself slightly, Greg, you mentioned, right? So a lot of the most talented people I know have these superpowers, but almost every one of them has a little ADHD, a little ADD, right? Like it's hard for them to sit still in one place, right? They got 7,000 things going on and somehow they can magically remember every single one of them.
Yeah.
Right? But you have the rare talent that you actually can stay on time. Like
well,
that's impressive.
I mean, do I stay on time?
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually
If she
10
doesn't
minutes.
miss appointments.
No, I don't miss an appointment, but if you were to ask my family or any, like I'm usually about 10 minutes behind, but that's also because in my mind, everything takes 10 minutes to get there.
Oh, she's one of those. Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah. Is that you?
No, Josh says, my lovely wife, if we're supposed to leave in 45 minutes, in 46 minutes, she starts getting ready.
Yeah, I mean,
Right?
it's everything takes 10 minutes.
Sorry if you're listening to this, Shay.
Yeah.
So
But it was a classic line.
yeah, I mean, so that's everything takes 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's everything in my mind. Like I always have 10 minutes. Like there's 10 minutes.
Yeah. I love it though. Okay, so I'm going to go a totally different direction. You guys started a podcast. Right? And it's multiple now, right? I mean, you got the radio show, you got the podcast. Walk us through the content calendar as it stands today.
The content calendar.
We need Jill here for
shows that
we
you
need
produce.
Jill for the content calendar. Our Jill. The radio show is super local.
Yep.
That's FM radio. That's goes Saturday 11 to noon. The agents are armed with us being the only team in the state that can offer that. We want to be, like Tom has taught us, the only team that can offer X, Y, and Z. So listings and open houses. And then we're doing obviously local economy, local market data, some of the data that you shared with everybody today. We're sharing that kind of data, localized to Connecticut market.
Right.
Our podcast, The Real Word, is episode 215, 16, 15.
Okay.
And we've done that basically.
215, so weekly show.
Weekly show every
Figure out the math, my friends,
Tuesday.
4 years.
Yep, 4 years since 2017.
Yep.
And I mean, we started with that Greg Haig Stop Zillow.
I mean,
our first show.
So again, we were literally like, it was like week one, and he's like, Nicole, we're going to do a podcast. And I was like, I had never done one. I knew I had been on his with his old partner. And
Which I did 175 episodes of that.
And I was just sort of like, oh, this is fine. And he's like, but I want it to be news. And I'm like, not fine. I'm like, I don't do politics and I don't do news.
Yeah.
Like those are two things that I need to stay so far away from.
Yes.
So I was like, how about, I'm like, cause we're, again, we grew up like 90s, like the real word, like the real world.
Right.
I'm like, oh my God, we gotta do like the real word. Like I'll do that. Like, let's do something fun where it's just like, it's real estate, but real word. Like, let's give the real word.
We had fun with it. Then we'll go back to the content calendar. Cause
that
we
was
want
your
to stay on
question.
task.
I'm holding you to it. I got my list.
Yeah. And so the first episode, we talked about this Stop Zillow Greg Haig thing.
Yeah.
You know Greg? Scottsdale. Brilliant. He's doing 72 sold.
That catapulted us.
It catapulted us
that made
because
us take our first vacation together at we were only like 6 weeks married at that point, and we were like vacationing. It was
people are
like,
gonna actually think
we're
that you're
not married, by the way.
everybody always
I
asks.
know,
It's the number one question.
Oh, for sure.
He challenges us to a Facebook debate.
Yeah.
Facebook Live debate.
Yeah.
Because we brought up the Stop Zillow and why we thought he had no chance of stopping Zillow, which clearly didn't happen. So at the end of the debate, he's like, I want to fly you guys to my Stop Zillow party out here in Arizona. I said, deal, first class tickets. He goes, deal.
Yeah.
So then his assistant calls the next week. She's like, these first class tickets are a lot. I said, I know. That's why Greg's paying for them.
Exactly.
She goes, no, we can't do that. It's going to eat up all his Amex points. I said,
Oh, that's right. He was
well,
worried
then we're
about
not
his,
coming.
Yeah.
Then they did it. They did the
Yeah.
first. Credit to them.
Yeah.
They held
Good work,
up
Greg.
on
That
their
was
end
a
of the
great
bargain.
trip.
So we went out there, and that kind of just kicked off the momentum of that. We were, I think, on Inman since the very beginning, or
That was all you.
right
That was
after
all
that.
you.
Yeah.
How did
That was all you.
how did that impact? I mean, so let's radio, then 4 years now of the new show.
Yeah,
How did
we've done
did
a bunch
the
of
thing help impact more reach.
Yes.
Oh, the podcast for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we have some unbelievable. I mean, I did Dry January this past January, and at
She's
the
got people
end,
DMing her.
Well, but I
fans of the
have Melanie sending me a crown, telling me I'm a queen because
Yes.
like it's like. And I
she's
love
like crying
that.
over a cocktail. I couldn't do it.
Well, I want a cocktail with her now, but like I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he loves the content. I'm like, ooh, like
Agent
I got a crown.
agent
Like
referrals,
me, you know.
agent awareness, so recruiting,
Yeah.
Yep.
agent retention, all of that has come from the real world. And then we do a lot of seasonal shows locally.
Yes.
Nicole and I did a couple seasons, and maybe we'll do season 3 this summer.
We are doing season 3.
We are, okay. Hold the Mayo,
Hold the
which
Mayo.
is a lobster.
Lobster roll review.
I remember
Roll review, doing that.
The pizza, like El Presidente.
Oh,
Yeah,
when
but that was the pandemic.
when COVID broke out,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not staying in my house. I don't care what the rules are.
Yeah.
I was in Connecticut, the only person on the road I felt like during those days.
Well, it was fun.
And I was going seeing all my friends
Yep.
who own restaurants.
Yep.
And I'm like, listen, if we're all going down, we're going down together.
Yeah.
Here's my credit card. I'm going to give me $5 $50 gift cards.
yeah.
I'm going to give them all away this weekend
Yeah.
on the radio show. I'm going to have you on the radio
Yep.
show.
Yep.
I did a Facebook video every single day. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm just going old school.
Yeah.
Going right back to my personal profile on Facebook.
Yes.
And I'm letting everybody know, instead of sitting at home and crying, if you've got money in your bank account, let's support these small business
Yes.
owners.
Yeah.
If you've got a
Yes.
little bit of a savings, if you've got a
Yep.
nest egg, I'm not telling
Yeah.
you to go bankrupt or something like
Yeah.
that. But if you can do it, let's roll.
And from
Right.
there, we started
Right.
then the gift card project.
Nicole
too.
started the gift card project.
So then we started getting people to send like if they had like to send us gift cards.
Right.
what
By-
did
go
we
to
end
your-
up raising on that?
About $30,000 in gift cards, and then what we were doing is we were then
So good.
donating them to either like people that needed the
Right.
gift cards,
Right.
or we were also giving them to all like the nurses and doctors that were at the hospitals too.
So where's the attention, right? And we did that obviously to give back and make an impact.
Right.
But the attention at that time, I had been doing the gift card thing on the radio, and Nicole's like, whoa, there's something bigger here that we can really do to help make an impact. We were talking about it the other day. Where's the attention going to be over the next 6 months? In the world, it's going to be on these midterms and all of this stuff.
Right.
So are you advertising in your local market on the political radio show
Right.
where people are
Right.
tuning into?
Yep.
Where's the attention locally that you can capitalize on in the moment, create a show, create a season around that?
Yes. How do you feel about, I go back to like Sharon, like a million years ago, when we would talk about like take anything out of the news and we can create a headline and then create a piece of content around it.
Yeah, Sharon's been brilliant with this
Yeah.
for years.
Have you done any of that?
Yeah, all the time. I mean, I do that
It's
all
like
the time.
like Russia, Ukraine. Like
Yeah.
I think one of the easy ones right now I keep telling people is like, if you're not doing a show like, can you buy a home in New Canaan with crypto? You know, fill in the
Yeah.
blank, your city with crypto.
Yes.
Right. Or how to buy, will an NFT get you a home today in, Newcastle? Right.
I mean,
Like,
the real world does a lot of that with the headlines in the industry, obviously. But
Yeah,
if
we
you're
try to tread lightly though.
Yeah,
We
if
try
you-
to tread lightly.
Nicole tries to
I do.
make
I like
me
to tread lightly. I
Why?
just like to because I just tread. I just like to tread lightly.
I love
what
it.
does that, okay, but what does that mean? Like,
Well,
you
I don't want
like-
anyone
you
to
don't-
ever know like who we voted for.
I don't know. I don't mean that. I don't
like,
mean. I don't mean
that-
get into
we're not-
that stuff.
not
No,
politics.
so
I'm
that's
talking
what I
about-
mean. Like treading lightly.
But okay, so
Tom's
there was
talking about the hook. The
yeah,
headline's the hook.
Yeah.
Oh
there-
yeah,
there's a
But I mean, we've
trend
talked
in-
about Ukraine, but like not like
Not if we like
views.
Putin or not.
But we'll
Right.
talk about
Yeah,
how it
yeah,
will
yeah.
affect. We'll talk about how it will affect
Yeah.
real estate.
Yeah.
Like
Right,
keep
that's-
it on.
That's
Yes.
what I'm talking
Exactly.
about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you
And
don't
it-
want to tread lightly on that. You want to attack
Right,
those issues.
but we're
Yeah.
not.
Hey, is inflation good for real estate? Yes or no?
Right.
Right. Are interest rates rising? Is that going to impact
Correct.
the number of transactions that are done in 22, 3, 4, 5?
sure.
Let's look at the data.
have to talk
You
about
gotta
that.
speak to the fear in the marketplace because the newspapers are writing headlines every
Fear-
day.
and they're
that are
fearing- they're-
scaring
and they're
the
fearful,
death out of
yes.
people.
But-
you can reframe it.
If there's a
Yes.
Wall Street Journal headline that when you type in real estate or real estate in your local whatever, and you go over to the news category so that whatever's trending at the moment populates to the top. If there's a Wall Street Journal article at the top, that headline, there's a lot of people clicking on that headline.
Oh yeah.
And it's because it was well written, it hit at the moment,
Yep.
and so you want to take that headline and use
Bingo.
it to your advantage.
Do you guys watch what Jeremy Knight does down in Texas?
I do, yeah.
Right. So Jeremy literally just has like the screenshot of the article, superimposed
Yeah.
behind him. Big shout out
Yeah.
to Jeremy Knight and so many others. Like Jason's now helping a lot of people operationalize around
Pantana.
this, and it's beautiful because he's just like he basically. Jeremy, I'm going to disclose some numbers here. He made 7 figures last year selling houses with no advertising, and basically his marketing is YouTube videos, social videos.
I love it.
Educating people on, did you read this about the Austin marketplace? Did you know the impact that Tesla's new, super center is going to have here?
Yeah.
Do you know what happens when Amazon opens up? Like
Yeah.
he's just being the real estate news as it relates to everything happening in Austin.
And
that's a brilliant strategy.
And I even tell our agents sometimes too, because obviously not everyone feels comfortable actually being so direct with their opinions on that, or not opinions, but obviously facts on that too. I mean, because I even tell be the answer for like paint color, like be the person that tells like where you like the electrician or the plumber, like be the resource.
I think what you're really saying is be yourself, because he's being himself and
Yes.
you're being yourself, because
Yes.
you're like design and how
Yes.
she went
It's
right
the
to all of her.
comfort.
She
her
knows
comfort
20
spots.
different gray colors that all look the same to me. She's sending me grays for my house here in Connecticut, and she's like, which one? You pick.
Sandy gray, double
It's
gray.
horrible.
They all look the
And then
same.
I said it to
She's
his
like,
wife.
"No,
He's
really."
like, I trust. She's like, I trust you. I was like, are
My
you
wife's
both
like, I trust- we're both
mad?
like,
I'm like,
just
neither one of
pick.
you have an opinion.
Okay, but now we're calling forward something I think is important on content is like I try and talk about things or interview people, right, that are aligned with the things that I want to get out there, right? So you're passionate about design.
Yeah, very.
You have a design show. You have this whole thing you've done on Facebook. We should talk about that as well, right? He's talking about what he's passionate about,
Yeah.
but what makes what you guys do great. It's like when I interview people, it's the combination of the two.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So I think for the person listening or watching, it's like, what do you get excited about?
Well, that's the most important, because I
Right.
think I remember even in the first year of real estate, I would go to open houses, right? Like, because everyone said it was 2010. They're
Right.
like, do open houses, like, and I didn't even have a phone. Like, there was none of this. I think I had maybe a BlackBerry, but I remember I was so worried about selling the house. Like, I'm at this open house, I'm supposed to sell the house. I would grill the agent to make sure I knew everything
Are you
about
doing
the
a
house.
net betting? I'm going to sell this house. I'm going
Yes.
to sell this house.
And but it wasn't even my house to sell. Like, I wasn't the listing agent. And I remember it took almost probably 9 months where like it clicked, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be selling the house. Like, I'm supposed to be selling me. Like, and
Yes.
immediately it was like my business flourished, because
Right.
now I was connecting. We were talking about kids. Like, it wasn't even about the house anymore. And I mean, and I think that obviously everyone knows what Byron loves. I mean, hopefully everyone knows what I love. And it just,
Byron loves dogs.
Yeah, he loves
I'll
dogs.
stay away from that. I love.
Cats
bring that
maybe
up?
a little bit more. Yeah.
But
You might want to
said-
edit that.
You said something about the combination.
Dog lovers no longer sending you referrals.
Jeremy Knight, because you just brought him up earlier. He wears a T-shirt with
Yes.
a big cartoon dog, and he
Yep.
always tags me in it every
Oh
time
my
he does
God,
it on
that's so
Instagram
funny.
stories.
I love it.
Love you, Jeremy.
Okay,
Anyway,
so-
I just want to drop
Yeah,
in on something
yes.
there. You're talking about the combination of nobody's ever accomplished anything great on their own,
Bingo.
right? And you've got to get around the right people. Maybe that means you're fitting into a team, you're leading a team, you're building a team, whatever. You've got to get around the right people. And to Nicole's point of like figuring out, I got to sell myself. There's a story of Nicole coming in second place before we started working together on the new development
Yes.
on 66
yes.
High Street. So we did a new development that we picked up in literally the end of 17.
We weren't even together yet. We were like searching for like a place to rent.
Yeah.
We sold out 60, 70 million over a course of 3-4 years of this new development project. Broke every single record in Connecticut for condos for New Haven County outside of Greenwich and stuff. Top 10 of every single sale, right? Price per square foot, all of it. Nicole came in second place the first time she pitched it. Not having the right team behind her,
Right.
not fully selling probably herself. She had the relationship with the developer.
Yeah.
Once we were just literally looking at
We were
some
looking
office
for we were looking
space.
for office space. So I know him. My husband coached his son in lacrosse. Like,
Right.
I mean, I bought homes with him. I just wasn't on this development, but I reached out. I'm like, hey, like, I know you just bought this house across the street from my house. It was literally across the street from my house. And I was like, can I check it out? I have a client that wants to rent it. And we show
was a
up.
client.
Yeah. So we both show up, and you can tell like the gears were turning. He's like, what are you guys doing together?
He
He's
knew
like,
me
'cause
just off of
He watches
Instagram.
him from
Yeah.
Instagram. He's like,
And this
what
is
are you guys doing together?
The power of content and then putting the right team together. Her and I
And
forming
from
this
that meeting,
team.
he's like, "You guys are like, you're." He's
He
like,
figured it out by
he's
the
like,
end.
He's like, my contract with my current agent expires on December 1st. This was maybe like October. He's like, how about we meet next week and we want to sign you guys
first
up.
of all, he goes, I was taking these sales in-house. But if you guys are working together, I'll give you the contract.
It's the yin and the yang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He saw that's the lighting in the match.
Yeah.
He saw the fire. I
Yeah.
love it. Okay. Last question, being mindful of time. You guys have scaled this business. He's changing his mind all the time, but it's clearly going the right direction. I asked you how you manage it all. That's fascinating. I still love it because it's just all inside your head and somehow you just pull it out. Do you wake up at like 2 o'clock in the morning ever and just go, ah?
I wake up and then I sit for a few hours and then I go back to bed. Yeah.
I had a feeling. I had a feeling.
Like I pass out at 9, I'm up at midnight, and then I
Yes.
fall asleep again at 2. Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
my day.
You guys have killed it on team building. You've killed it on agent count. You've killed it on success. I mean, you're number one in the state. The only thing we didn't get back to that I want to close on is agent training, new agent training.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
New agent training.
And why does it exist?
It's a 30 closing commitment. Why it exists is because we only surround ourselves with full-time professionals.
Right.
Yes.
People that are hungry, committed, and accountable.
Right.
Yep.
When we recruit to those three, we talk about those three every single time we meet with the agents. Every time Nicole does a one-on-one with the experienced agents. And so if you're going to come on our team, in respect to the consumer and in respect to everybody on the team, you're going to go through our new agent program for 30 closings. Now,
So I don't get out of it until I've closed.
30 deals. Now you can,
can.
if you want to put skin in the game, your hard-earned money, you can buy yourself down to 20 for $300 a month. Most of our agents actually do that.
Most of them do.
Interesting.
So when you're halfway through the program, and the ones that do that always accelerate through faster,
Right.
and they get onto the other side, which is the experienced agent group, which Nicole manages, where your split will go up on your sphere and all of that kind of stuff. So whether you're on the 30 deal plan or the 20 deal plan, when you're halfway through, you go now to our advanced new agent program. So in the program, new agent, first half, Monday through Thursday, 9 to noon, no excuses, 9 to 9:30, role play, 9:30 till 11. You're following up on all your leads. You're getting basically FUB to 0.
Yeah.
Follow up boss for us,
Yeah.
could be Boomtown for other, whatever. You're getting all of your, leads to be zeroed out. You followed up, and
And you guys are giving them leads, plus they had
Yes.
their existing
Yep.
sphere, or
Yep.
is that
so you're either hitting your standard and you're turned on for Zillow Flex, or you're hitting
Right.
your standard, you're on Realtor or whatever, right?
Or if you're hitting
Google.
if you're hitting some of the standards too, you get like sometimes we'll give like them a deal off
Yeah.
that month. Like
So
we'll give
there's incentives too, where
Incentives, yeah.
you make this many calls, you do this, whatever it is. Lucy comes
this
up with
many
that every
open
single
houses,
month.
things to continue to motivate them.
Then you could peel a deal off that way as well. And then
So
at 11 to noon, it's training. So it's very.
That's what I want to hear.
No,
Like,
no.
where was
And it
the
was
training?
well,
element?
but and at that point it's mostly because 9 to 9:30 is
The
role
role play.
play, but it's like contracts or
So 11 would
yeah.
be contracts, or it would be we're doing a field. They just did a field trip to Nicole's
my
house, and they pumped her septic
We did a
tank.
septic,
right?
the septic
So it's like-
inspection at my house.
They actually pumped it, or they
Pumped
were
it.
there. Okay, because I
So
was
like, hey,
bunch of new agents out there. Really,
No.
this is what it takes.
But
Like,
here's the thing: most
Get
new
out,
agents,
yeah.
most new agents, when they're at an inspection, that's the first time they've been to one.
You're showing them this is what. Yeah.
But we
Ask
also
the-
want
love
to
it.
take
I
you
love
want
it.
to
Ask the
take that
professional the questions now.
uncomfortableness
Yeah.
out.
Right.
Do it with me.
Right.
Ask stupid questions when you're with
Right.
me, not
Right.
with you
Don't
know,
practice on the client.
Don't practice on
at
the
your first
client,
inspection.
yeah.
So now that we're recruiting and we've been really upfront, Steph, our recruiter, has been really upfront of saying this is how it's going to be. But then we saw an issue where people in like the second week are like, "Oh, I
no.
really can't skip on Wednesday." Like I thought you guys were just kind of like saying, "No,
Yeah,
no,
no,
And so
bye.
they're like, they've
we lose.
opted out.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're getting even more clear up front on
Right.
Yeah.
this is how it's going to be. Start coming to some of our meetings. Start jumping into the
Or
training
there's
now.
some though
Open
that
up your
went
calendar
else
and put this in for the next year.
for sure.
Yeah.
But there's
'Cause
some
this
that
is your job.
We've
Yeah.
had people get out in 9 months.
Yeah.
They're paying the 300. They're doing all the incentives and they're getting their 20 deals done.
But there-
it
and-
could be a
done
year.
20 transactions in 9 months as a brand new agent.
Yeah,
like
it's
newly licensed and in
huge.
is so the training is
Huge.
working.
But
We've had
there's some agents that don't join and then realize that they're not getting training at
all.
all
Yeah.
where they went,
We've
and
had-
they're like, okay, I get it. I want
Yeah.
I want in. Yeah.
We've had agents. One comes to mind. She was a teacher for 10 years, tenured. She did the 20 deal plan. She had a child and got out in 9 months. Like if she can do all of that,
Wow.
Yeah.
look at what's possible in the 9 month
When you
period as a new
actually
agent.
have a proven track record, success plan.
Coach.
You're going to role
and
play.
you're accountable. You're
right,
accountable
exactly.
to the calendar. You're
Yeah.
accountable to what you need to do.
You're building a business.
You are building, and that's actually, I think, our biggest. And not that you asked, but I think that's our biggest hurdle. I think with the team is them still being accountable to their business instead of them thinking that like we're going to run it for them.
Yep.
So I think that's been like realizing that even though you're on the team, like it still is very much your own business. Like you are the only one that can make it happen.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We can provide you all the resources.
We can provide you. I can provide you a back rub.
Exactly.
And your back will still hurt. Yeah.
But if you don't pick up the phone, book an appointment, it's like we talked about with DJ the other day. It's like you still got to do the fundamentals.
For sure.
The fundamentals always and forever will work. Call people, set appointments, show houses, list property.
Yes.
Rinse and repeat.
DJ and Lindsay, Jacksonville, shout out to you guys. They're a big inspiration for us because I'm sitting with DJ and Lindsay. I'm sitting with George Lawton the last couple of days, spending some time with a whole bunch of teams that are in the legacy group. And I'm like, if I'm not in the $1 billion club with you guys pretty soon, if we don't do that, and that's why we're always talking about road to $1 billion.
That may have been the change in the Slack channel.
Well,
well, no, this
it
changed.
was before this. This
this
happened
changed
about
a year ago. Whatever. Like road to $1 billion.
Again,
right?
it was when we were ripping it all apart, and like
Yep.
she was wondering what our 5-10 year goal was, and like he's like, I only have one goal. Like it's I have one goal.
But it has aligned us when we have one goal. One transaction goal for this year, and then one volume goal within the next 2.5, 3 years. See how I bumped it down there, Nicole? 2.5 years.
Building and building and building and building and building to get it.
We're in full alignment.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, lots to unpack here, guys. We got to be mindful of time, but you guys are a hoot.
Was this a total roller coaster of a podcast?
This is exactly how
I hope
it.
everyone got a lot of value.
Everyone's going to get value out of it.
I mean,
no way. No, I tried.
You did.
But this is one of those like what when it's natural and for me at my favorite, it's just a conversation.
Oh
right? And I'm trying obviously because I want to pull things out because I'm thinking about you know as I talk about I'm creating content for one person right now.
Yeah.
Just the one person that's like I'm on a team and I'm feeling a little disconnected.
For sure.
Right? Or
hey,
I'm building this part of this business, but I can't do it alone, right? So how do I get everybody aligned? And holy shit, you guys were the first team ever, by the way, to not have standard operating procedures in place and systems and things written down. Like you were the only one that ever did that.
I know.
Yeah. There's going to be a 1,000 people who listen and go, shit.
And again, I still feel like we still have so much to like learn.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's very exciting because as we finalize up and like firm up more stuff and like you realize really kind of, and I hate to use the word easy because it's not like how much because it's easier than it was.
Right.
You almost are like, ooh, like what else is out there that we could implement? Because like this is making it so much better.
Velocity.
That's what velocity for sure,
Yeah.
and it's what I love about the group that we have and what we're building is because we follow what you've shown so many of us in the ecosystem is that you always want to be learning, right?
Yeah.
Always
and forever.
Yeah.
And you do it. I mean, I'll end with this, or we'll end with this.
Oh, we will? Wait,
he's taking over the show.
Wait, you're done? You're
Close
done?
out, brother.
Tom
Close
will
it out.
decide when to end. But
I'm not done.
sitting next to Gino Belfari for a day,
big shout out to
who
Gino.
has how many agents again?
90,000.
90,000 agents. Nicole.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I would say bye-bye.
He's managing managers, managing leaders.
At that point, my mind may explode.
Yes.
Gino he's the CEO of all of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services.
Right. Franchise side and the company-owned stores.
And he's
mortgage
sitting
title.
there with team leaders.
Yep.
And he's taking furious notes.
Right.
I mean, I want to be like him for the rest of my life.
That's the role model.
Yeah.
And you could say, I mean, I've seen that with Barbara Corcoran. I saw it with Ebby Holiday, you know, God bless her, passed away a couple years ago, like at like 500 years old. It's like legendary CEO sitting in the front row of my events. And I'm not saying it was my events. Like that was just her. She was just taking notes.
Yeah.
Always be learning.
Always.
So what are your closing thoughts before I officially get to close out
my
Byron's
Lord.
show?
I have no idea.
Tom Ferry podcast.
I don't have any closing thoughts. I don't have any.
All right. Well, then hey, you know,
Thank
I'm going to
you.
say to everybody,
Thank you
make
for
sure you
having
follow
us.
these guys and obviously like, subscribe, you know, share all that stuff that you all know that I hope that you do. And thank you always for the reviews. These two are really special. So I would lean in. I'd check out all the different things that they're doing because, you know, we live in this sort of community of like, hey, if it's working, if he's doing it, if she's doing it, there's probably a there, and there's a model to emulate, right? So you don't have to reinvent the wheel every single time. So.
Oh yeah, we what do you call it? Rip and repeat? Or
No,
whatever?
that's Tom. I ripped that off from Tom.
Rip off and duplicate, baby.
We do that
Rip off
all
and
the time.
duplicate.
Byron's like,
Yeah.
why are we making this so difficult?
Right.
Go on Instagram. What's his name doing? And I'm like, all right, let's just do that.
Let's just make that better. All right. So we appreciate you guys. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you on the next show.